Hey, pretty babies, what is going on? Lee Sanders here. You're checking out the RCWR show. Monday night, August 2nd, 2021. How y'all been? Have y'all had a fantastic weekend? I'm very curious how your weekend went. I mean, if you had to work, of course, hopefully you were able to enjoy some nice, good quality time with the friends, family, and all that. Mine was definitely pretty good. Have no complaints whatsoever. I told you guys late last week, how I had got a hold of the Logitech Brio. I got a hold of a new webcam because I was having some weird issues that was going on with the last couple of shows that we did, as you guys know. And I won't bore you guys with the tech talk again, but we had some technical issues last week that was just kind of head scratching. And so we resolved it. But as part of the process, it looked as though we needed to get a new webcam. So this webcam that you're seeing me on right now is called the Logitech Brio. And I'm loving it right now. I know that there is a new webcam that's out, the Elgato face cam. I have been reading up the reviews on it, and it looks to be fantastic. It really, really does. I'm very, very impressed at what that Elgato face cam can do. But if that ends up becoming a really hot item to get, especially going into this holiday season, hey, it's all good because the Brio still is top of the line, pretty freaking solid. So, and as you guys can see, I've done some tweaks here as far as the lighting and some other stuff. I actually had the missus help me out over the weekend because originally I had this weird yellow hue that was going on, and she said, "You're not that yellow." I'm like, "Huh? Look at your tone. Like, you're not that yellow." And she's like, let's play around with this a little bit. So she was a sweetheart. She helped me out over the weekend, helping me fine tune things. So we were able to not only get the webcam up and running, but we were also able to get the overall presentation nice and spiffy. That's not the only thing that we had managed to pull off too over the weekend. For our Patreon members, there is a new Wrestling with the Topics you guys will be able to check out. That's going to be available for our Patreon members, so do consider signing up. But your boy learning some new tricks over here. So one new trick I can show you guys off the break right now, because I thought this was kind of cool. So I know you longtime listeners, you guys are so used to seeing me in this type of presentation right here, right? But it gets better, right? Check this out. So now we give you guys a little bit of a camera angle here, right? So now you guys, we got the kind of, now we kind of are getting into the whole multi-studio thing that's going on here. Okay, so this webcam that I'm looking directly into right now, because I got my Brio over here. So right over here, I've got my Logitech HD 720p webcam. I haven't used this. This was my go-to. I usually like to use this when it comes to streaming stuff on Twitch. Because I'll be playing games and all that sometimes. So this is usually what I like to use for my gaming, as it's pretty cool and everything. But I had decided while I was doing a little bit of cleaning up around the house, I had decided, okay, you know what? It'd be kind of cool if I went on ahead, try to utilize some space, take advantage of some stuff that I'm no longer using, and maybe try to figure out a way to use it. So I basically ended up taking my monitor it was in the studio. We actually have a monitor / TV. It serves both purposes. I said, man, this TV, it ain't getting no play. Might as well turn it into a monitor. So that's exactly what's going on right here, right? So we got a nice little monitor that's set up. I don't have to have so much stuff all on my screen, hurting possibly the recording live software we use when we're doing our thing normally with you guys every single week. So that, it takes less stress off of the CPU usage and all that, since we're pretty much kind of bringing everything to another monitor and all that. So it's pretty cool. If you actually go on the Twitter page, you can actually get an idea of how the setup is. So, one thing at a time. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's taking us some time, but we're getting there. I'm pretty excited. So, yeah. So, hey, Well, of course, we're going to be talking about WWE Raw tonight. We're also going to be talking about what all had went down with these WWE releases that were pretty shocking, that came from WWE releasing Bray Wyatt, WWE apparently releasing Ric Flair, the Nature Boy Ric Flair as well. So we'll get into all of that, loads more. Hey, we even got right here, I hold here in my hands a envelope from the beautiful, from the lovely Ivelisse Velez, as she hooked us up with some nice signed photos. Yeah, we got some autographed photos. So we'll do the unveiling of this later on during the show. So I am pretty excited to be here with you guys tonight, man. How was Raw? How did you guys like Raw overall? I'm very curious. Whether you're checking this out live or you're going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, let me know, because I'm very curious. What did you think about tonight's WWE Raw? I thought, honestly, the show tonight, I thought it was pretty good. Look, I love it. I love it when WWE goes to Chicago, especially when it comes to that United Center. I love the energy. Look, y'all know, especially you longtime listeners know, I am a Chicago boy, born and raised. I love Chicago. I miss Chicago so much. Any chance that I get to go back there, I love to do it. I love to do it. It's a pain because it's a long hike. It's not like New York, where from basically DC to New York, it only takes about 4 hours. No. When we're talking about Chicago, that is about 12 hours of a freaking commute. So it's kind of like, you gotta prepare when you going from DC to Chicago. You feel where I'm coming from? So, but I love the crowd out there. It's magic. As I've always said over the years, if you want to know how a crowd really feels about a particular wrestling promotion, key story arcs for a wrestling promotion, key talents for a wrestling promotion, I've always said many times over the years, put it in front of the Chicago crowd and you will definitely know what's working and what needs to change. And you just need to stop that altogether, dog, right? Love that about Chicago. Chicago, love you guys as always. Fucking fantastic. Hey, it's a great time to be a fan of pro wrestling right now. Look, congrats to WWE because they had sold out that arena that they had performed at tonight. I don't have my webcam, by the way. That's a first. I don't have my webcam, by the way. Kind of weird. Not my webcam, my cell phone. I don't have my cell phone. I could get up and go get my cell phone real quick, because let me just... Oh, actually, no, I got it right here. All right. Yeah, I thought it was pretty badass what was going on there with the fact that WWE, they were able to sell that United Center out. So congrats to WWE for that. But then let's not also forget that AEW, they got some pretty good news of their own and what they were able to do, selling out that same arena, if I'm not mistaken, in a couple of weeks there when it comes to Rampage. So I mean, and I apologize in advance if it might be a little bit fuzzy. My memory might be a little bit fuzzy, but I know as far as AEW and WWE goes and what they were able to do out there in Chicago, selling out for their respective shows, that's fucking fantastic. Because remember, AEW's tickets, we told you guys about this last week's show, because last time we were on air with you guys was Wednesday, and they had sold out because the tickets went on sale earlier today, like around 10, maybe 11 o'clock. Somewhere between 10 a.m. to noon is when the tickets had went on sale at AEWTix.com. So that's fantastic to hear. That really, really is. I sincerely mean that. Not really too much went down on Raw tonight, but there was a couple of things that went down that kind of whet your appetite a little bit. I would have to say definitely a couple of things that whet your appetite. Now, we did get a couple of matches that went down before Raw came on the air. There was a couple of dark matches. I don't know what happened post Raw after they went off the air, but before Raw went off the air, you had 2 dark matches. Lince Dorado lost to Angel Garza, and Riker defeated Cedric Alexander. Those were your 2 dark matches that went about. Anybody that maybe wants to do me a solid while I'm live on the air for the next little bit, if you want to check to see what was the Raw post-match, post-dark match, if there was any, feel free to poke your head, see what's going on, and you could definitely let me and everybody else know. Otherwise, I'll definitely post it in the comment section after we're done with the show. But those were your dark matches before Raw. Raw, look, I thought they opened up pretty damn good there with Lashley, MVP. Great ovation for Lashley, by the way. That Chicago crowd. It can also be, for some, it could also be a little bit bizarro world when you see, who all the Chicago crowd is reacting to and all that, But look, Lashley has definitely been finding his stride these past several months. There's no doubt about that. So it was awesome seeing Lashley get that love from Chicago tonight. I loved it. I freaking loved it. And it was unanimous. It wasn't just a couple of people or a handful of people that were cheering and all that. No. He actually got the full blown from about 90% of the audience. He got that love and everything. I loved how they also booed Goldberg as well. That was pretty badass. So, once again, we get a Lashley Goldberg confrontation. And we're kind of playing this whole, should I stay or should I go? We're kind of getting that, are we going to do this match or what? Right? So we still kind of have Lashley teasing Goldberg here about whether or not he's going to accept Goldberg's challenge to face him for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Look, we all know this is pretty much a done deal. This is just the scenic route. They're just milking this out for all it's worth. We get that, but I think we can all be in agreement. Man, if you're just following the storyline so far, you can't help but say, man, how can we keep doing this and yet somehow Goldberg leaves these past couple of times and he has not gotten a definitive answer? When are we going to get that Goldberg that's going to essentially say, hey, boy! And I don't mean that in a racist way, but hey, boy, been over here with my dick in my hand. What's going on with that match? I kind of got Goldberg sounding a lot more like Scott Steiner there. My bad. But you get the point that I'm making. It's like sooner or later, like, no, goddamn it, I'm standing my ground. I'm staying right here because every single time I bring up this match, somehow we don't get the definitive, yes, it's on. Like, what the hell's going on here, right? So, by the way, I got to show you this real quick because I just thought this was awesome. First of all, you see the shape that Goldberg was in when he popped up tonight? Goldberg looked to be in phenomenal shape. Phenomenal shape. I mean, he looks like he has been hitting them lean cuisines. He has been hitting that cardio. My man Goldberg is looking, I told you guys a couple of weeks ago when we first saw him, I said, hey, he's looking pretty lean. He's looking pretty trimmed up here and everything. Like, oh, okay, looks a little bit more cut up. I could tell just by the clothes, he was wearing. It wasn't like he was trying to suffocate himself in those clothes, mind you, but he did look more defined and kind of well built here. So Goldberg coming out, and he's, he doesn't have any sleeves on. And you're like, oh, and he looked pretty fucking shredded. I can't wait to see what's going on underneath that. Look, for a guy such as his age to be as old as he is, and I can only imagine how, because, sadly for men, I know you guys have seen those ridiculous commercials that's floating around, especially late at night. You got freaking, oh God, the bald head black dude that plays baseball, whatever the hell his name is. And then you got the other guy, Doug Flutie, that used to play football. And they got one other guy, and they're talking about Nucentrics or some shit like that, Hey, your male testosterone level as you get older, it goes down, and then you ain't able to sexually please your woman in the bedroom. Well, there's a simple way to take care of that and also not lose that testosterone. That testosterone You know what I'm trying to say, goddammit. You know, that testicular fortitude, you know, you don't want to lose that. You can just go on ahead and take these pills. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, these pills are so fucking magical. But when you read the ingredients, when you actually check out real people on YouTube that actually checked out this product, they're telling you the ingredients. It's nothing that you couldn't find, you or me couldn't find every day in a store. A lot of that stuff, you could just go to the veggie section and you can just pretty much pick it up your damn self, right? Make yourself a nice little drink, put the shit in the blender and all that. But you get the point. You get the point. I digress. But seeing Goldberg in the shape that he's in, you know, if that doesn't make you feel inspired as young as you are right now, to say, man, you know what, when I get into my late 40s, going into my early 50s, I definitely want to do my very best to, you know, try to be in the best shape that's, you know, humanly possible. And you kind of got to be on top of your stuff and all that. Let me show you this cool pic I was talking about, though. This is actually from tonight. And, you know, it definitely just had me reminiscing, because as soon as I see Goldberg come out, I noticed there's this young teenager that he goes out of his way to wrap his arm around and give him a nice little embrace. I'm going, that kid kind of looks familiar. I wonder if that's maybe Bill Goldberg's kid or something, because he looks awfully familiar. And sure enough, leave it to the color commentators, they mentioned that was Goldberg's son, Gage. And I'm going, wait, that's Gage? That's the same Gage from like about 5 years ago? You know, when he was in the ring with his dad, that Gage, remember this scene? And I apologize for those of you that are just checking out the audio version, but you should feel a little bit more inclined to check out the webcast version, because you get to see me, you get to interact with people that's, you know, in the chat, you get to see some of these cool images that I show and everything. You know, it's a much more cooler and, of course, more intimate experience this way. But look at this. This was 5 years ago. Remember this? Now, for those of you that didn't watch Raw tonight, that's Gage 5 years ago. Goldberg's son, that's Gage 5 years ago. And this is Gage tonight. My, what a difference 5 years makes. This is so freaking crazy. So freaking crazy. It just blows my mind. You guys have no idea. Just look at that for a couple of more minutes, okay? Well, not a couple of more minutes, but a couple of more seconds. Just look at that for a couple of more seconds. One, you just can't help but go, okay, you know what? 5 years later, and Goldberg is relatively still in the same shape that we remember him in. If not, he's a little bit more leaner. Okay, hey, that's pretty damn good. Okay, cool. He might not be in ring shape, you know, ready, but, you know, the physical part, as far as looking the Goldberg character, he's pretty much got that down. But look at the son. I mean, the son is, I'm very impressed. Good genes too, because when you look at the old pictures of Goldberg when he had hair, and before he, you know, let the beard grow out all full time and everything, or just had a goatee going on, when you just remember how Goldberg looked when he had hair, you know, Gage looks pretty damn spot on there. It's kind of creepy, man. But no, just the fact that 5 years went by, y'all. I mean, it blows my mind sometimes. You know, it's funny because it's something that I had brought up with the missus on Wrestling with the Topics from the weekend. I said, you know, sometimes I just feel like, especially now that I'm getting a little bit older here, you know, now, you know, I'm 40, so now I'm 10 years away from 50. You know, I was telling her, I said, you know, sometimes as of late, these past couple of years, especially the past 3 to 4 years alone, I feel like so much time has gone by much quicker. And I can't help but wonder, okay, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Am I enjoying myself, you know, a bit too much, or am I making sure that this time that's been going by so fast, have I really been just pumping the brakes a bit and just really making sure I enjoy the fruits of my labor? Have I really been making sure that I slow down and I'm enjoying myself here? Because time just has a weird way of flying by so fast. And, you know, I'm quickly reminded of that almost every time I see Dominic Mysterio. I mean, those of us that grew up watching the WWE product and, we remember Dominic, remember how he was just this tiny little boy and the whole I'm your poppy storyline and all that. And then we see this big, tall, I don't think any of us even imagined that he would be much taller than Ray. I don't think any of us saw that coming. I don't think any of us even predicted that. So the fact that he's taller than Ray is like, and it's Dominic, right? It's crazy sometimes, right? Triple H is now 52. You get what I'm saying there. But yeah, so surreal seeing that. Now, I tell you what, I love Goldberg coming in there and pretty much saying, look, your man MVP, I smell fear on him. I look at you. Let me tell you something. I ain't got nothing to lose. You are the one that has so much to lose. Everything starting with that WWE championship. I don't care how old I am. I could be 55. I could be 105. I will become WWE champion. I'll beat you anytime, any place, any year, right? All right, so he's pretty much setting the tone right there. So if that's not enough to make the almighty Lashley jump out there and say, okay, all right, Pops, prove it. All right, I'll see your ass at SummerSlam. We don't get that. We don't get that tonight. So instead, what we ended up getting was a case where once Goldberg said what he needed to say, Lashley MVP, no rebuttal. They're just pretty much standing there mean mugging as Goldberg makes his exit. Lashley decides he wants to have a couple of words with Gage. You're seeing this. And look, I thought Gage sold it pretty damn good. Personally, I thought Gage really sold the intimidation factor of Lashley. I like the fact that he wasn't a punk, so to speak, but at the same time, he definitely wasn't sticking his chest out like, man, you don't scare me, man. Miss me with, I like the fact that I liked it. I liked how it was set up and everything. And of course, MVP taking that over, talking his hot game. I loved it, though. I love that trash talking Lashley was giving to Gage. Hey, I'm going to beat your dad. It's going to be the last time that he's ever going to be seen. I'm going to beat his ass so bad. You just watch. You just wait and see. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to hurt your dad so bad. He gets back in the ring, and he's just, celebrating and all that, showboating. MVP has a couple more words of trash talk. Goldberg comes out of nowhere, spears the hell out of MVP, lays him out. All Lashley can do is just pretty much look on there. So look, you hear Lashley doing the stuff there with the trash talking, right? Home in on that. He's trash talking. I'm going to beat your dad's ass. Okay, all right. So the match is on. Match is on, apparently. Okay, all right, cool, right? But you couldn't really know that. You didn't really definitively know that the way this was kind of set up tonight. But the match is on. I hope you guys really do realize that by now. I know sometimes WWE has a weird way of doing the scenic route with some stuff, but I mean, of course, you don't need me. You don't need Columbo to tell you that Goldberg versus Lashley is on for SummerSlam. But that whole layout, pretty badass. Nice little setup right there. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that was probably one of the main highlights of the night. Although if you're into blood, have I got the segment for you that I want to tell you about. And by the way, while I got you guys' attention right now, I do hope up to this point you guys have been enjoying the show so far. And if you have been, please do me a huge favor. Make sure you haven't done so already. You go out of your way. You hit that like button. When you hit that like button, it helps push our content out there more for more eyeballs to get a hold of. Do that. Appreciate that in advance. You can also feel free to subscribe as well, man. Appreciate that. You like blood? Have I got the segment for you in regards to blood? So there was a match that came about later on in the night, and that match had involved Tamina Snuka. And let me just hey, how you doing? How you doing? See, we got the two cameras going on over here. Sometimes I just like to just hey, how you doing? But we had the match that came about tonight. Of course, Natty Natty recently got surgery done on her leg. I don't know if it's like right around the ankle area. My mind escapes me right now. But she did get surgery. She's already off crutches. That was actually one of the last series of tweets that she had put out within the last 48 hours, is that she's off crutches now. So the road to recovery, look, all you can do is just hope that, Natty can come back. Look, of course, 100% healthy. You'll want for her to come back quickly, especially if you're a big fan of Tamina Snuka. You want for Natty to recover at a full 100% and get back as quick as possible so that we could continue to see her and Tamina defend those women's tag titles and everything. But, knock on wood, that's all you can do. But, it's nice to see that Natty is in good high spirits as always. But tonight, we had Tamina in action, and she was holding it down big time, man. She was holding it down. She was representing her and Natty, as I believe the tag titles might have been on the line tonight. I actually had took a little bit of notes here. Let me actually pull up the match card here, because I can tell you whether or not, because usually when it's titles on the line, I usually write it down in my notes here. It was, bear with me here, I got it loading up. No, it was a singles match. It was Tamina versus Piper Niven. It was a singles match. But you know what? For what it was worth, I actually enjoyed it. What I really liked about the way this match was laid out here, I like the fact that we got blood. What did you think I was gonna say? What the hell did you think I was gonna say? Did you actually think I was gonna go all technical and nah, I wasn't gonna. No. Blood. That's all I really enjoyed about this. Look, I've got nothing personal against Piper Niven. I dig me some Piper Niven, right? Big-legged woman ain't got no soul. Shake for me, girl. I want to be a backdoor man. That was a whole lot of woman in that ring, man. Ooh, I like them big. That was a whole lot of woman in that ring tonight, man. Nia, Piper, ooh, damn. I feel like Blanche on Golden Girls. I'm getting hot just thinking about it, y'all. Look, they did okay. Wasn't sloppy. Some areas looked a little sluggish, little rough. But they had an overall okay match for the little bit that they were in there for. They were in the ring there for probably like about 4 minutes. But for me, what I had, oh man, I got the blood mixed up. I humbly apologize. I got the blood mixed up. I'm thinking about Tamina. I'm thinking about fucking Piper Niven. No, I'm thinking about the Nia Jax joint. Yeah, the Nia Jax one. Blood. Yeah, we got to talk about that one. But no. A little bit later on. Big girls, though, they were representing on the card tonight. It kind of made me take a step back, and it made me say, man, when I think about the WWE product from about 5 years ago, or I think about the WWE product from like about 10 years ago, man, just as far as the diversity in women of all shapes and sizes that we have now compared to how it was back then, night and day, it puts a smile on my face. And you know what? I really hope that if it can put a smile on my face, I really hope that for, all women, of all sizes, of all ages, of all races that are into wrestling, and they're seeing what they're seeing with the WWE product, I hope that it kind of puts a smile on their face to see the type of diversity that we have these days with what's going on with the women stretched across all the shows. I think it's a pretty cool thing there, man. I really, really do. Tamina picking up the dub here. Pretty much this was all about just further extending that story, building up that story there with Eva Marie and what's going on with the whole, Lily Lucian and all that. Alexa Bliss popping up on the Titantron, cracking a few laughs at the expense of seeing Piper Niven, Eva Marie getting their asses handed to them. Well, they pretty much had got the last word later on in the night as Bliss was doing one of her little Lily Playground segments, and Niven, Eva, jumped her from behind, laid her ass out, and as they made their exit, the Lily doll did get tossed on the ground, and I thought it was kind of interesting because all of a sudden, it's kind of weird when you think about it, because you think about the controversy that went about last week with the freaking cutter match. Fucking Nick Gage and the fucking pizza cutter, and you got freaking Domino's all triggered. Like, okay, you're talking about you don't want to have anything to do with AEW. Okay, bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. I mean, look, teach its own, but Domino's Pizza is it even really pizza? First of all, right? I mean, I'm being really, real serious with you guys. Is it even really pizza? Because sometimes the shit that they make, look, the only time I can fuck with Domino's is when it's Brooklyn style pizza. Like, you got to give me the thin crust. That's the only time I can mess with Domino's. And I got to double up on the toppings. I got to double up on the cheese. I got to double up on the veggies, or I got to double up on the meat so I can actually really taste the shit, because their shit tastes like cardboard usually, right? So is it even really pizza? So AEW, they hearing it from TNT and all that, right? Domino's one. Okay, bye. We got Shaq. We got fucking Papa John's Pizza. Like, and there's an idea right there, all that shameless plugging that be going on with Shaq. I would love to see Shaquille O'Neal. I'm just saying. I think it would be badass. I would love to see Shaquille O'Neal try to do some type of a spot there with the AEW guys. And maybe you can have the all elite guys. They're hungry. They're just sitting around. This is your commercial, by the way. They're just sitting around. I'm hungry. He's like, what do you want to do? Let's do some pizza. Oh, okay. I got something frozen. You want me to whip that out? Frozen. Yuck. How about Pizza Hut? Man, no, that gives me the bubble guts, man. Too much grease. Yeah, too much grease. What about Domino's? You really want to go there, bro, after what went down? Yeah, good point. And then you can just have somebody knocking on the door, and like when they come, next thing you know, it's freaking Shaquille O'Neal. Hey, everybody, how you all doing? Shaq here in the house. Heard you guys were hungry, so I came over here and brought you on some pizzas. Being better ingredients, better pizza, new day, Papa John. All right, and there's your freaking Papa John's commercial right there, y'all. Like, seriously. But, yeah, it was kind of weird because Lily got tossed on the ground there. And then next thing you know, after like about 30 seconds, the Lily doll stands up on its own and just starts laughing. And that pretty much was the end of that. And you're kind of going, yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, whatever. Moving right along. Next, please. So I just found that whole spot to be kind of hilarious, because I think after they went to a commercial break, or at least all throughout the night, we kept seeing the spots there for Chucky. And for me, I just thought that was the hilarious thing, because it's like we got the Chucky spots and then we got Lily, right? So you can kind of see just how you got the whole Nick Gage, pizza cutter, Domino's outrage, right? You get it. I'm just stringing it on for you guys, help you guys out, because I know some of you guys might have been left in the dark there. Why did we go there with Nick Gage again and the pizza cutter? Like, now you guys know. So we had those beautiful big women there. Now, you want blood? You like blood? I love blood. Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax. Okay, you know what? I got nothing but love for Nia Jax. Nia Jax went into this match and like a freaking pro, she maintained composure. I love the fact that she didn't even try to stop whatever was going on during the match here to let the referee check on her and control the bleeding that was going on. I watched this match. I actually played it back twice. Twice I played it back. And it was a short match. It was a short match. So if you'd have blinked and you're like, why the hell is Nia Jax just bleeding profusely from the face here? What the hell did I miss? So basically there was a couple of punches that Rhea Ripley did to Nia Jax. There was also, I recall, a forearm strike, So between those couple of punches in that forearm, one of those had unfortunately connected just right above the eyebrow, kind of close to the temple of Nia Jax there. So, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it was like a knuckle slip. Now, the one thing that I didn't go back and check, even though I watched it twice, I didn't go back and see it a second time, or a third time rather. So it escapes me right now. But what I can't figure out right now is if Rhea Ripley had any type of jewelry on one of her fingers, or if there might have been some type of jewelry going on as far as her wrist goes. I don't believe there was, okay? Just a weird accident that happened when it was all said and done. But I saw, when she did that strike, and look, here's the images. Again, apologies for those of you guys that's only going to be checking out the audio version, but yeah, I mean, that was just, whoo, to see that. And Nia, she knew exactly what was going on, because you could tell, the minute that she's starting to ocean spray, the minute that is happening, Nia, and she's realizing it, she just keeps soldiering through it like a freaking pro. And I'm just like, okay, all right, okay, cool. Go ahead. All right, Nia, I see you. So I like how they pretty much went right to the finish with this matchup here. And man, Rhea Ripley, that's a big, strong girl, man. That's a big, strong girl. The fact that she was able to pick up Nia Jax, pretty much put her over her shoulders and all that, and talk about some heavy duty there, man. Talk about some heavy duty. That was just loved it. Freaking loved it, man. Now, closing moments of this. Nia was in a riptide by Ripley. Shayna Baszler tried to cause a distraction, but yeah, no mas, right? So Nia Jax actually ends up almost going in between the ropes, but catches herself. Rhea Ripley catches Nia for a roll up. 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the match. So you got Nia Jax, who's just bleeding profusely. Here's some more for you guys here. Let me show you guys another image here of what was going on here. Let's load this one up. All right. So I mean, you got all that's going on there with freaking Nia Jax. And man, I couldn't help but be excited post-match, because Shayna Baszler gets into the ring. She's trying to explain herself to Nia Jax, and Nia is just freaking livid. I mean, she is extremely pissed off here. And Shayna is feeding off of that anger. She starts to take her jacket off. She throws it down, and she's about ready to freaking brawl with Nia, but decides, okay, you know what? Nah, let me catch myself. Just, you know what? Whatever. And rolls out. The fans, did you hear that? Did you hear that crowd tonight when you watch Raw? Did you hear that crowd? They wanted to see this go down. They wanted to see these girls. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a case right there where you got that Chicago crowd, big fans of Shayna Baszler. Because look, Chicago, they know their MMA too. They know their MMA. They know their boxing as well. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if that crowd was also the type of crowd that was like, yo, man, what's been happening with freaking Shayna Baszler as of late? There's been some bullshit crap, man. Like, seriously, we need to do something with this. Shake this shit up. Or I'm loving this. Just the fact that we now got this little tease. Remember, for the past couple of months now, I've been calling. I've almost been begging for a please, can we get Shayna Baszler away from the Nia Jax, away from the Reggie, and like come on, can we just be done with that already? And once they got rid of the whole Reginald thing, you're like, oh, so we're just gonna keep going with this, huh? Yeah, okay. But now it seems like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel there. It's kind of one of those just hold on. Hold on. Change is coming. Hold on. Change is coming. Just got to hold on a little bit there. So good stuff. Good stuff right there. I'm trying to think what else was good about Raw tonight. I'm looking at the rest of these matches here. Because grand total, I think they might have did like about 7 matches here, or maybe 9. It was about 9 matches. The no holds barred match between Nikki Ash, Charlotte Flair. That went down exactly how we thought it was going to go down, as far as Nikki Cross picking up the dub over Charlotte. Yeah, that went down. The one thing though, see, here's the thing that kind of rattles me a little bit, just from a storyline type of standpoint. We had Charlotte Flair talk the hot game that she was talking, and in storyline she was making very valid points. Hey, all the times that the Money in the Bank briefcase has been cashed in on her, it's pretty much been cashed in on her when she has been at some type of a disadvantage. She's never, like, not once had an opponent just straight up, yo, cashing it in, this is when it's going down, start preparing. She's always been ambushed, is her point, right? And at the same time, motherfuckers been making a name for themselves off of her as a result. So in storyline, you're hearing exactly where she's coming from, and yet you had Nikki Cross just come out of nowhere and just just hit her in the back with a steel chair. You're going, damn, Nikki. Well, hey, not for nothing, she did say she was almost a superhero, right? Kind of one of those Charles Barkley's, I never said that I was a role model, Ernie, right? Kind of one of those type of deals. But I like the fact that these two girls closed out Monday Night Raw. Again, you've been noticing this ever since Mickie James had said what she said about the WWE product, and now you're seeing what's going on with NWA and Power and all that. Yeah, just like more and more and more, you're seeing WWE really try to show a lot more love there to the women. Been noticing that? Just kind of marinate, have that in the back of your mind there going forward if you haven't really thought about that. But good main event match between Charlotte Flair and Nikki Cross here. It was kind of funny though, because for a majority of this match, Nikki Cross, this was pretty much a ass kicking contest, and Nikki was at the receiving end of it. You could definitely make that argument. Also, Charlotte Flair's hot trash talking game during this match, loved it. The way she carried the hell out of the Chicago crowd earlier in the night when they were chanting for Becky, and she was like, yeah, once again, Becky's at home. I'm here. I'm the one responsible for selling out this arena. Y'all welcome. She shut them up. She put them in their fucking place. Telling you, man, Charlotte promos, she has come a long, long, long way. Love this. Freaking love this. Commentating team did a phenomenal job in stressing and storyline how, man, Nikki Cross, she really, needs to get this win, because this needs to solidify for her whether or not she has just been lucky with some of the opportunity that's come her way against Charlotte Flair. She needs to prove to herself and to all the naysayers here that, not only can she defeat Charlotte Flair, but she also deserves to be the Raw Women's Champion. So when you just really look at how everything was laid out in this match and how everything was working together in this match as well, it played out to be a pretty good main event. I would have to say pretty good execution overall. And for about a 15-minute match, I definitely got to give a lot of props to how they laid it out. So, you still got Charlotte Flair looking relatively strong. You got Nikki Cross looking pretty damn strong as well there. And then, Rhea Ripley, you still got her looking a bit pretty damn strong as well there. So that was pretty damn good. Yeah, Hunter, I'm aware of the CM Punk chants that came about tonight. I don't know if it was throughout the night, because while everything was going, I had Raw on the monitor, and then on the other monitor, I'm pretty much doing some coding stuff and still fine-tuning some stuff for the show. I was aware of the one CM Punk chant. I mean, look, it's Chicago. What do you expect? That same crowd, a good majority of them are also going to be at the AEW shows. They're probably already excited and ready to go. They probably already have their all-out tickets ready to go. They're going to be representing. I mean, look, to each its own, but for me personally, I just think it's kind of hilarious to be doing a CM Punk chant with, it's kind of funny when you think about it, because if WWE really wanted to do some type of business with CM Punk, they've had more than ample time to move heaven and earth and make it happen. For whatever respected reasons, they just are not interested. There was some interview. It was either an interview or maybe just some people had reached out behind the scenes to the good folks over there at Fightful. But basically, I don't know if it was Fightful or maybe it might have been Ringside. But basically, some people in WWE had said to them straight up, look, if AEW has in fact signed CM Punk, that is fantastic. Let them take that headache off of our hands, because he is such a huge headache. Good. God bless them. Hope it works out for them. But we don't want to deal with that. Too much high maintenance as far as they were concerned. Too much high maintenance. So I just always kind of find it funny with the CM Punk chants, right? It's like, especially right now, within these past several years, it's like if WWE wanted to do something with Punk, again, they would have moved heaven and earth and they would have done it. And so now that we have a scenario where more than likely it's a done deal, by all accounts, CM Punk is on his way to AEW. Me personally, to each its own, I just don't see the relevance in chanting for a person at an arena. He's not signed to the company. I mean, to each its own. If that would have been me personally, and I would have been on the microphone and that crowd would have been, and they picked their spot. I will give that crowd their props. They did pick their spot when to do this little disruption, and they pretty much did it by my account, unless they did it all throughout the night. I don't recall, but the one definitive spot I remember hearing the Punk chants was Miz TV. Yeah, Damian Priest out there, Miz, Morrison, and they just were not feeling Damian Priest. They weren't feeling. I don't think it was a personal thing against Damian Priest per se. I think it was just more of the fact of, we don't really care for these guys. We want to see some action. I think it was just kind of one of those type of deals. So, and Damian Priest, when it was his turn to talk, and he was just a deer in the headlights. He was just a deer in the headlights, and he had no quick zingers, no quick comebacks. I'm sorry, but if that would have been me, I'd have been like, hey, y'all know you paid to see WWE, right? Y'all thinking about that other promotion, whatever their name is. Yeah, right? With the bad football team owner, right? I would have done some type of a fucking jab like that and just kept it moving right along, right? And you know what? You could make the argument, well, that's kind of like a heel-like promo. Maybe Damian Priest shouldn't be the one to say that. Okay, granted. then you could have had Miz and Morrison be the ones to maybe say something like that, right? But yeah, I just thought it was kind of one of those weird moments where between Damian Priest, Joe Mo, and Miz, nobody, all of them were just, I would have responded to that and be like, nah, you ain't gonna hijack our shit. We're out here trying to entertain you. Like, no. You ain't gonna hijack. No, this is our fucking segment. We own this shit, and this is how it's gonna go down. That's how I think it should have played out. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. I really, as always, when it comes to the CM Punk chants and all that, it's like, great, CM Punk chants. And you know how many years I have been seeing various Raw shows and they've been doing the CM Punk chants. I think many other people feel the same way. It's like, you hear one, you hear them all. It's like, okay, moving right along. See some other action that went down tonight on Raw. Reggie. So let me see if I got this straight with Reggie. Reggie pretty much like Kofi, pretty much like Apollo Creed. 1 minute he is talking like this, and all he wants to do is mon c'est quoi, oh là c'est fouet, where's the oh la la, oh ménage toi, right? And now all of a sudden, my name was Reginald, but that really wasn't me. I prefer Reggie. Like, okay, so all of a sudden you're ditching the French accent. And now you're just surprise American, and you're doing all of this fucking, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? And I've got a new name for Reginald. When I see Reginald, we're pretty good at naming folks here on the show. We're pretty good at naming folks. Angel Garza, Pepe Le Pew Garza, right? But Reginald, I got a new name for him. His new name is Flipper. That's his new name. His new name is Flipper. We can even say Flipper Reginald. Just flip, flippity flop, flip, woo, flip. That's all I see when I look at him. Flip. That's great. You know how to do flips. That's very impressive. Flip. You know what I want to flip? I want to flip my fucking remote. I want to flip my fucking remote. I want to flip the channel when I see Flipper. That's what I want to do every time I see fucking Flipper. Okay? There's nothing entertaining. There's nothing charismatic. There's nothing. Yeah. But then I'm reminded of something. This was for the 24/7 championship. Flipper won. That's all you need to know. His opponent doesn't even matter. All you need to know is it was Flipper. That's it. Flipper won. Okay? And if you're a fan of the TV show, you get the whole Flipper thing. But you know what? We got a new segment that I like to introduce here on the show. And if I can just remember the initials for this segment, that would be awesome. If I can just remember the segment here. But it's kind of my way of saying, come on, man. Don't be like this guy. That's our segment. It came back to me. I had to look at the initials and like, what was it? Introducing, don't be like this guy. Kind of goes back to something I was talking about later on in the night. I just want to show you guys this image here. And for those of you that will be listening to the audio version, have no fear. I'll actually read to you what I'm showing here. So this tweet actually came in earlier tonight. I'm sorry for tweeting about wrestling, but Tamina being on TV while Ruby Riott got released is worse than Vince allegedly paying off the police investigating Snuka's murder of his wife. Allegedly. Friendly reminder here, folks. DBLG. Don't be like this guy. Please, don't be like this guy. Okay? Yeah, that's just marinate on what my man just said there. Okay? we're going to take somebody that's on TV, in this case, Tamina, and we're going to compare to Ruby Riott, and we're going to throw in the murder of Snooker's woman. And it's girlfriend. It's not wife. It's girlfriend. Big difference. Make sure you're going to speak about something. Make sure you're fucking very on point. Okay? If you got enough time to put in parentheses allegedly, you should have enough time to make sure before you hit that send button. Wait a minute, wasn't it a girlfriend, or wasn't it a significant other? I think it was a wife. Like, research your shit. Okay? Now, look, guy's entitled to his own opinion just like anybody else. But Jesus, do we really need to make that kind of comparison? Now, you know what probably would have been much cooler? Had he left the whole thing about the Snooker girlfriend murder and all that other shit and just slide in there, switch a couple of things in there. I'm sorry for tweeting about wrestling. If this would have been me, I would have said, I'm sorry for tweeting about wrestling, but Reggie, Flipper, being on TV while Ruby Wyatt got released. Yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, this is a goddamn travesty. What have we done to deserve such punishment, WWE? Seriously, get Flipper off my TV. Seriously, get him off my TV. That's just all I had to say. I appreciate you guys there, but yeah, I'm tired of Flipper. Let's see. No holds bar. We already talked about that. Karrion Kross in a rematch with Keith Lee. Keith Lee picking up the dub. I'm sure all Keith Lee fans are, they holding that drink up in the air and they got their little dance on and everything. They feeling jiggy with it. Okay, right? Good match. Damn good match, and look, we talked about it off and on the past couple of weeks, which was Keith Lee has been off to a bit of a bumpy start since returning to Raw television. We talked about how the very last time we saw him on Raw programming, and then he was off TV for a series of months. It was back in February of this year, and that was a defeat then. So we talked about how these strings of defeats, but then also begged to put the question out, is this maybe setting up something for Keith Lee on a much grander scale? And we talked about how there has been a series of cryptic tweets he's been putting out the past few weeks, most recently last week, when we touched on the fact that he brought up how there was something that he wanted to get off his chest, something that he wanted to clear the air about, for clarity purposes. And some fans were saying, hey, you don't owe us anything. You don't need to just keep doing you. And he said, no, I feel as though I need to explain what's going on. There's a time and a place, obviously, but I'll definitely be talking about this in a couple of weeks. So to see what's been happening here leading up to tonight with Keith Lee picking up the dub, I gotta say, very surprising. I did not think Keith Lee was gonna pick up the dub here. I did not think that at all. I was happy to see him on TV yet again, and I wasn't ever feeling myself getting upset, but I was finding myself to be a little bit irritated, like, oh man, we're going to do this again. We're going to feed Kross Keith Lee yet again here. Like, really? But this was a very good competitive match. I love how both men, really went into this. And as far as matches of the night, like highlight of the night for me, for sure, this matchup. I definitely got to give it up to both men here. Kross, one thing that was kind of cool tonight, by the way, for Karrion Kross, I like the fact that they had him as he was making his way out to the ring. They had him like this little split screen, so you basically saw some pre-show matchup comments before his match with Keith Lee. and he pretty much was cutting his promo talking about the sands of time, and he actually had the little sands of time. So I thought all that was pretty cool. But man, Scarlett, man, we got to bring that Scarlett, that whole presentation. We just need that back. He just looks so naked just from that creative standpoint. Look, some people, they just like a good hot dog in between a bun, and they'll just eat it just like that. And you got most people, they like their hot dog with some type of condiments on it. They want some mustard, or they want ketchup. Maybe they want mustard and ketchup. Some people want relish on their hot dog. Maybe they want all of those condiments that I just mentioned. Some people like mayo. Some people like cheese, or maybe they want all of what I just said on their hot dog. Everybody's different, man. But when you look at Karrion Kross right now, he's just so damn naked without Scarlett, man. Like literally, it's really, it's bugging me. It's really, really bugging me, man. Matt Riddle taking on Omos. Omos picking up the dub. I won't say it was a squash match, but I mean, barely 90 seconds, if 2 minutes. I'd be shocked if it was a 2-minute match. Got to give Riddle a lot of props. He went into this match selling the hell big time for Omos. So a lot of props for that. By the way, when the commentators had mentioned Omos tonight, I'm gonna actually leave that alone because I'm a little bit curious to see what happens next week. I'm gonna keep that to myself. Ricochet, Damian Priest taking on John Morrison, Sheamus, team of Damian Priest, Ricochet picking up the dub. Ricochet ended up being involved from this. This you could kind of look at this as a Teddy Long special, basically. This stems from what happened previously in the match prior, where Damian Priest was taking on John Morrison. Which not half bad and everything, but post match, Sheamus just came out of nowhere, started attacking Damian Priest. Ricochet came to the aid of Damian Priest, and then as we went into a commercial break, from there we pretty much had ourselves a Teddy Long special, and we got to see the tag match. And no, not with the Undertaker. Not with the Undertaker, y'all. Let's see. Other than that, I mean, we pretty much went through everything in regards to Raw tonight. I'm just going back. T-Bar and Mace, they were in action. They picked up a dub over Mustafa Ali. Mansoor, I could give two shits not. Sorry, y'all, but that's the God's honest truth. This does nothing for me. Nothing for me. I'm still not, yeah, could care less. Yeah. So you had about 9 matches of Raw tonight, and other than the Keith Lee Karrion Kross match, you could definitely do an honorable mention for Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax because of the whole blood spot. Charlotte Flair taking on Nikki Cross. The Goldberg Lashley segment. I mean, all of that was pretty good, but otherwise a pretty average episode of WWE RAW. I'm almost curious what you guys thought about Raw, so definitely sound off, especially those of you that's going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads. Definitely sound off. Love to know what you guys had thought, but that's pretty much Raw in a nutshell. So let's talk about some of these WWE releases that had came about over the weekend. Pretty shocking. Where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start with Bray Wyatt, or do you guys want to start with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair? I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. I'll buy you guys about 2 minutes. So I see that we got some folks that's tuning in live right now. So you're hearing this. This is your part of the show right now, where I encourage you to be interactive and post something in the chat. You want to go with Ric Flair first, or you want to go with Bray Wyatt first, and we'll pretty much kind of go with the majority from there. While I'm buying you guys a little bit of time, I do want to kindly give you guys a reminder that we are now just about 3 weeks away. Let me look at the calendar here. Actually, no, 2 weeks and a half away. Well, let me look here. So let's see, about 2 weeks and a half away from AwesomeCon 2021. It's going to be going down at the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be returning there once again, where I will be covering AwesomeCon as part of the press media, and also this year, for the first time ever in my illustrious career, that's continuing to build. I'm doing something really cool for the very first time. I'm actually going to be moderating a panel, and I'm going to be teaming up with my good friends and Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Wrestling Soup. Make sure you catch them Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and Don Tony from the Don Tony Show. Yes. Very excited for that. And it's crazy, too, because I actually had heard from Don Tony earlier today. And he was under the impression that because he did not get approved for a press pass, okay, I guess I can't go. And it's like, because I told my wifey over the weekend, I said, okay, now that, we pretty much got all the equipment we need for the panel, now I'm going to go on ahead and start putting the program together, for the show. What we're going to talk about and everything. And as I'm trying to get all that down, I hear Don, it looks like, can't go. And I'm like, what's he talking about? So I had to reread everything that I had sent to him. And, basically it was like a miscommunication thing. So it's like the passes that, we were approved for, it has the same value as a press pass. So you don't need a press pass. So I'm like, I don't have as much hair as it is. I'm pulling out what hair I have left, and I'm going, and all of that. So we should be good now. As far as I know, DT is still scheduled. He should still be appearing at AwesomeCon, and as I had said very nicely to DT, I said, dude, see you in DC unless I get COVID. I mean, that pretty much was it. Like, I was like, unless I get COVID, unless they shut things down once again, and they're like, we got some big heavy names too, man. We got Michael J. Fox that's gonna be appearing, Christopher Lloyd. The original Red Power Ranger. Who else is going to be there? Giancarlo Esposito will be there. The girl from Addams Family, I can't think of her name. The little girl, she's all grown up now. I can't think of her name right now, but she's going to be there. This is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid lineup, what they got going down there for AwesomeCon. So if you're going to be in the DC metropolitan area coming up on Friday, August 20th, definitely come on by. We'll be having our panel then on Friday, August 20th. You can get more info at the AwesomeCon website. All right. So I did try to buy you guys some respected time because I was curious, where did you guys want to start? I don't know if you guys are taking a shit. I don't know if you guys are beating off. You put the phone down and you just got the audio playing, but I didn't see any comments come in. So I'm going to pick and we'll just go from there. So WWE had released Ric Flair over the weekend. Very unfortunate what's going on. And it's interesting because you go back to a previous interview that Ric Flair had gave right at around the time when Lacey Evans had revealed that she was pregnant. Turns out it was actually legit, and we haven't seen her on WWE programming since. Ric Flair had gave an interview where he talked about how, hey, look, Lacey Evans, great kid, very, very talented, got the whole world ahead of her. I'm so apologies, guys. Let me take that. Don't be like this guy post off already. There you go. But he talked about how Lacey Evans, great kid, very, very talented, nothing personal against her, but he just did not understand the whole storyline. He was not a fan of that storyline. So just as we all collectively were kind of moaning and groaning a bit over that story arc, you know how sometimes, wrestling fans can be, over exaggerating. Wrestling fans can be a little bit too insensitive. Wrestling fans can be, a bit too gimme and all that. No, this was a case right here where I remember almost unanimously, everybody was not feeling what was going on with this story arc. And Ric Flair had said in an interview, months back, that he was not a fan of this story arc whatsoever. Went to Vince McMahon. He complained about it. Fell on deaf ears. So it pretty much, it was what it was. But to hear that Ric Flair has been, let go, he pretty much asked for his release. He wanted out of his Legends deal, basically. He wanted out of it. And when you get right down to the heart of the matter, the reason why Ric Flair wanted out was because he just was not liking what was going on from a creative standpoint. He just was not liking it. And I think when you add a lot more to it, as far as substance go, not only could you go with the whole, hey, from a creative standpoint, hey, this is what's going on with Ric Flair, but how about just from a lack of creativity standpoint as well? How about that? So for, Ric Flair to go to the WWE, as the good kind of folks over there at Fightful, they're reporting based on their sources that, this is what's going on, that basically this is what they're hearing in regards to Ric Flair, wanting his release from the company. Look, Ric Flair is at a point in his life, and, that was the one cool thing that I loved about the interview that he gave months back, where he made sure he was not bearing the hell out of Lacey Evans. He wasn't bad-mouthing her in any type of way. But I love the fact that he said, hey, in my career, I've been there, I've done that, I've done things that, looking back on it now, I wasn't really proud of, but I did what I did, all in the name of entertainment, what I thought was right, business-wise. Like, you guys have seen me get my hair cut. You've seen me in some, really bad, uncompromising positions, but, I tried to do all of those things all in the name of entertainment, basically, was Ric Flair's whole argument. So to see, Ric Flair get to this point where he's like, you know what, I'm good. I mean, look, really stop and think about it. He's got this Legends deal or whatever that was going on with WWE. And, sadly, it's a case where you want to do certain things, WWE may potentially get involved, and they may say, oh, yeah, you know what? We don't want you to do that. Yeah, we can't have you do that. It's like, but I'm not even on WWE programming, so what do you mean I can't even do this right here? Like, it shouldn't even matter. It's like, yeah, but, look, you want to keep getting that money from us, you can't do this. That's a no-go. You can't do that, right? So there's a whole lot of red tape that comes along with having that WWE contract. So, look, he's 72 years of age. You see the Car Shield commercials every time. It's like either late at night or I'm watching Ring of Honor, my man. Stay on them fucking Car Shield commercials, and it always puts a smile on my face. I love them every single time. I love seeing Peter Avalon getting his ass whooped. I love seeing LA Knight, Eli Drake getting his ass whooped. The old color commentator, I can't think of his name right now, It'll come to me when I least when I least suspect it. But it's nice seeing all of those familiar faces, and they're in this freaking Car Shield commercial and everything. I mean, 72 years of age, made his return to the WWE, in a wrestling capacity back in 2012. You remember that first go round when he retired. That was pretty much 2011, and then the following year he does his thing in TNA for a hot cup of coffee. Like, nobody really wants to remember that time in TNA, and understandably so and everything. But I mean, you look at the past couple of times that Ric Flair has been incorporated with WWE programming, being disrespected there by Ric Flair. Okay. That horrific story arc that was going on with Lacey Evans. I mean, before she got involved in it, and it went in the direction, honestly, before they went the baby route, I must admit, it was interesting. I must admit that, for clarity purposes, it was interesting. And a lot of fans were definitely, where is this going? Because, wow, if we're pretty much going to be doing Lacey Evans 2.0 Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair's in the corner of Lacey, okay. But when we went the baby route, it was kind of like one of those, but then we find out that it was the real deal. But you even had some fans that after a couple of weeks, even though it was the whole, okay, we see what's going on here, still not really a fan of it. So, I mean, I won't say fans were divided, but definitely a majority of the fans, they didn't care for this Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair story angle, for sure. They really didn't care about it. But it did look promising early on those first couple of weeks. I always felt that Ric Flair should have been as prominent of a figure as what you see of Austin Idol in NWA. I always felt that he should have been utilized in that type of capacity. Okay, let's put him with somebody that desperately needs help going over. Always thought it was weird. Teach its own, but I always thought it was weird that obviously Ric Flair has a lot of respect for Andrade. And you just would have thought that while Andrade was still with the WWE, okay, you know what? We're trying to get this young man over. Okay, I'll tell you what. How about, all right, let's just see what happens. How about Andrade gets paired up with Ric Flair? Let's see if maybe some type of magic could possibly happen with these two guys. I always thought it was kind of weird that nothing really, okay, so, there's pretty much your strike right there. Or how about taking Ric Flair and just finally doing something with him and The Miz? How about doing something right there? I mean, that would have been kind of entertaining, I think, to a certain degree. Kind of going back to what I had talked about years ago on the RCWR show, years ago. And you can actually look this up on the YouTube channel. All you got to do is go on youtube.com and just type in RCWR show 4 Horsemen. And that should do it. I'm like literally typing it in right now as we speak. And there's this really cool ass idea that I had some years ago for a new 4 Horsemen. And they had involved Ric Flair basically assuming the role of J.J. Dillon, basically. And what I had came up with, let me look here. Let's see if I can find it here. That's weird. It's not coming up. Hang on. CWR show. Let me try Ric Flair. Let me try this one. Let me look here. See, now I'm curious. That's gonna bug the hell out of me now, because now I'm curious. What is the? Yeah. Okay. So type in WWE's The 4 Horsemen, and what I had pictured at the time was Ric Flair in the role of the new J.J. Dillon, Curtis Axel, Dolph Ziggler, Miz, and Cesaro. Now, obviously, we no longer have Curtis Axel there, right? Obviously, we no longer have him in there, but the other three guys you got. So, do you maybe replace Curtis Axel with Damian Priest, or you could go with Keith Lee? I just always, you feel where I'm coming from? I always felt that he should have been in some type of a managerial role, and whatever talents that might have been struggling and you really need to get them to that next level. Yeah, Ric Flair, he's the man. Just as good as Paul Heyman makes anything taste fucking better, right? Okay, Ric Flair, that same freaking effect. But the poor mishandling that WWE were doing, that WWE was doing there with Nature Boy. I mean, look, you're 72 years of age. You want to make sure that you're freeing yourself up as much as humanly possible for, money-making opportunities that's out there, any and every money-making opportunity that's out there. You also want to have a say from a creative standpoint and really feel as though your input is being valued, that your experience, everything, the decades that you've had in the wrestling business, that it counts for something and it's not falling on deaf ears. Yeah, I don't blame him for saying, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm good. Look, Ric Flair ain't no fool either. I'm sure he's also probably, been talking to quite a few friends on the wrestling scenes, and he knows what it is. He knows what's going on. He knows what's going on, to quote that Marvin Gaye song. He knows what's going on, and he's gonna go wherever he may roam, wherever he damn well pleases, right? So if that ultimately means that one day we're going to be seeing Ric Flair pop up in AEW, okay, it is what it is. Me personally would not be offended by that whatsoever. And I don't think fans should be looking at that and going traitor and all this other shit. It's crazy. You got fans out there, the stuff that they were saying about Daniel Bryan particularly. I mean, go ahead, make your rounds on YouTube and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You legit got fans that are doing these diatribes of bullshit, talking about that Daniel Bryan is a betrayer of the WWE. Some people, they titled it, "Why I Hate Daniel Bryan." Like, hate is such a strong word. Hate is such a strong word, especially when it is applied to somebody that you personally do not know on a daily basis. Just think about that for a little bit. But, I mean, look, 72 years of age, really should have been given a lot more. Really surprised that as far as being a backstage producer, being that new Pat Patterson, essentially, I'm really, really surprised that WWE, Vince McMahon mainly, did not try to help transition Flair. But, it's all right. He'll definitely be able to get any and all of those things and whatever outside projects he wants to be able to do. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Look, I think that he wouldn't have done this if financially he felt he was in such a really good position where, you know what? Because we know over the many, many years, Ric Flair, as far as being financially responsible, we sadly know that he hit a couple of road bumps along the way, even well into his golden years here. So for him to do this move, I'm definitely also looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, now you know what? He's also probably looking at this and, you know what? I've made my money. Whatever financial hurdles I had, I'm a lot better than where I was 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. I'm good now. And look, not to also mention, now Ric Flair is really, really putting himself in a good position here where, and I'll have to rely on you guys. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but last I checked, Ric Flair still does not have a podcast out there. So, I would imagine it's only a matter of time before Ric Flair with his son-in-law Conrad finally launches a fucking podcast. And oh my God, you talk about some revenue stream right there, man. I mean, that's some serious revenue right there that's waiting to happen. And I'm telling you right down to the point, the day that Ric Flair, correct me if I'm wrong, but if he already has a podcast, let me know. Because as far as I know, he ain't got no podcast. I should have heard about something by now. But let that podcast launch. That is probably one wrestler's podcast. I keep meaning to also check out the Kurt Angle podcast, but that's definitely one podcast that would be at my priority list because, man, what are we talking with Ric Flair? We going to talk NWA? Are we going to talk WCW? Are we going to talk about his first rodeo with the WWF? Are we going to talk about, where are we going to go here? Are we going to talk about his TNA? There's like so many options that you can go on that damn podcast on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you could just do one whole month just dedicated to the territory days, and you feel where I'm coming from? So this is, I can't help but wonder with StarCast Weekend All Out coming up. I can't help but wonder with that WWE release. I'm very curious, even though I suspect it's a Legends contract, did they still maybe put some type of 90-day clause in there, or would Flair be free to go do his thing at StarCast? I'm most curious about that. So that's one release. Now we got another release to talk about. Bray Wyatt. And again, if you guys want to hear that clip, it's about 5 minutes. Just type in a YouTube search, WWE's The Four Horsemen, and you just type in RCWR show. And if it's not the first video, it's definitely on the first page. Like after a couple of videos, you'll see it, and you'll see the thumbnail. It'll say Four Horsemen United. You'll know it when you see it. But let's talk about this next release, Bray Wyatt. This was a real shocker. I remember seeing this news Saturday, and I actually was getting ready for work at the time when I had saw this news. I'm like brushing my teeth, and I'm in the bathroom. I'm talking to the wifey who's in the other room, and I just say, "Holy shit!" And she's like, What happened?" I'm like, "Do you hear about Bray?" She's like, "Nah," because she usually has a little wrestling feed that'll pop up on her Facebook page and all that. She's like, no, I didn't hear. What's up? I'm like, WWE released Bray Wyatt. And you know what was her response to that? I'm sure it was probably the same response that a lot of you guys had. The first thing that comes out of her mouth is, why? And she said it just like that. Why? And I said, I don't know, just yet, but rumblings are budget cuts. Just a little bit I was able to research, but it wasn't concrete. And when I told her budget cut, she said, that's a load of bullshit. And she doesn't even follow the WWE quarter spreadsheet and all that, which, by the way, WWE was touting how they did so good last quarter, right? Because they just did another quarter report there, a little quarter conference there, right? So they brought in all these good numbers, right? Now you're going back on live tour, and yeah, what the fuck? So Bray Wyatt was released by WWE, and again, according to the Dave Meltzers, the Sean Ross Sapps, all of these guys, what their intel is giving them is basically Wyatt was released for budget reasons. That's what's being told to him. And that apparently John Laurinaitis was the one that made the phone call to personally let Bray Wyatt know XYZ. Now, look, I just got to pump the brakes on that one. I do. I got to pump the brakes on that one. We're going to say that we released this guy because of budget cuts. Yeah, homie, something don't sound right about that. I'm not buying budget cuts. I'm not buying that. You just touted the numbers that you touted with your last quarter report, okay? Furthermore, Bray Wyatt is one of your top merchandise pushers. I have been on this show long enough where whenever Bray Wyatt was dropping something hot, some type of new cool kick-ass merchandise, I can remember being right here on this show talking to you guys about it. And like as soon as we put the word out about the product, I'm not saying, it's all on us. I'm just saying, soon as we talk about it, and all the other podcasts talk about it, within that same week, whatever was getting ready to go on sale of new Bray Wyatt merchandise, it gets sold out. Remember the unique Bray Wyatt World Heavyweight Championship? Man, just the limited amount that they put out there. And I mean, all them joints like fucking hotcakes. Every single time there was some type of a Firefly Funhouse little kit segment up for grabs on the WWE shop site, that joint sold out real quick. And I mean, they did like a series of those things. And they got sold out real quick. This man pushing mad merchandise out the door. This guy's name, everything, likeliness, all of that, helping WWE push fucking merch, okay? So let me see if I got this straight. We're getting ready to go back to live tours. We're getting ready to have fans back at the live gates. We got to make sure that the merchandise stands and all that is nice and hot and it's banging. And this guy who proved to be such a huge hot commodity there and pushing out merch, making you some good cash, we're pretty much rewarding him and his creativity and what all he was able to do. And we've given him the pink slip. I'm just making sure I understand this correctly. I think I'm understanding this correctly. I can feel you guys nodding your head. Fuck yeah, Lee. Yeah, that's exactly how we're doing it. Like, okay. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. Of all the releases, you guys know I don't like coming on here and saying, well, this person should have been fired instead, and this person should have been fired instead. And I don't like doing that. I have a simple philosophy. You get fired from your place of employment, you did something wrong to get fired. Okay? Otherwise, if you lose your job, just elements completely out of your control. You did nothing wrong. You just lost your job. This is one of those situations where Bray Wyatt, if you're even thinking about, okay, we just need to cut. We just need to trim the fat a little bit. That is one name that should have been, hands off. You can touch these other names over here, but hands off. No, that's our golden boy. No, hands off of him. Okay? And what's very infuriating about this and nerve-wracking, I need for the Meltzers and the Sean Ross Saps to dig a little further, but you're hearing these reports that apparently sometime in August, Bray Wyatt was gearing up to return. He was getting ready to come back to some house shows and all that. He was, rested up. He was pretty much ready to go. Whether or not he was going to be back in time for SummerSlam, that kind of remains to be seen, or if he was going to be a post SummerSlam attraction, that remains to be seen, right? Because now we'll never know. But that is just very nerve-wracking to hear, because this man, I gotta give him the proper respect here right now. I gotta give this man his flowers, especially while he's still alive. Okay. Of all the wrestlers that I have seen since I have been a wrestling fan, and I've been a wrestling fan since about 1984. Okay? So young boy, 1984 to now. When I think about excellence in in-ring psychology, character development, constantly being able to reinvent yourself over and over and over again, constantly having people talk about everything that you're doing, time and time and time and time again. For me, for my list, there's a short handful of names, and Bray Wyatt is on that list. For this guy to be able to go from fucking Husky Harris to the creepy Robert Mitchum / Robert De Niro Cape Fear character to, you know, this crazy ass Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, creepy thingamajigger, stranger in a van down by the river. I shot my baby, right? Little fucking Neil Young for you there. So you got all of that going on. But then we go this horror route with this demonic monster character, right? So, I mean, you got all of this, right? I mean, this is just, you haven't seen anything this impressive since, you know, really an Undertaker, a Kane to a certain degree. The psychology alone that this man possesses, it is of the likes of a Kevin Sullivan. It is of the likes of a Jake Roberts. Okay? Great fucking man. Great individual. And, you know, this is a man that has, in his personal life, had to overcome so many obstacles, especially from a mental health standpoint, something that he continues to battle. You know, time and time again. I could definitely remember being here on this show, you know, like many other fans, very frustrated because we see what this man is capable of. And it's so infuriating, it's so frustrating to see what's going on with this WWE system that he's in, when where it counts the most, and okay, he should be here, and no, instead he's, right? Very frustrating. And he's given the pink slip. There's just no justifying this whatsoever. There just isn't. I would like to know who ultimately made this decision, who all sounded off on this decision. Because, you know, one name that you keep hearing about constantly is this Nick Khan guy. And this Nick Khan has just strategically, you want to talk about trimming the fat. This guy has just pretty much been coming in and he's been tearing it up. You know, he is saving the company money as best as he sees fit, while at the same time consolidating many departments and even to a degree consolidating the roster. But when you look at a name such as Bray Wyatt, you just can't help but go, wait a minute here. Look, you know, if you were to ask me straight up, you know, Lee, look, you know, is it possible that WWE could, you know, in the process of what's most likely a 90-day non-compete clause, is it possible they could switch it up and try to see if Bray Wyatt can come on back? That's possible, but then the question becomes, would Bray Wyatt want to come back? Would he want to come back? Would be the question. Look, I can only tell you if that was me personally, but it's not me. But I can only tell you what I would personally do if that was me, you know, which is essentially, yeah, you had your opportunity. All these years I've dedicated to you guys, you know, all the money that I've made you guys, the poor silly booking that you've done with me. Damn, guys, do I need to remind you, you had me lose the title to Goldberg? when I was fucking, just really starting to kick things off, when I was really starting to get popping with my demonic character, you fucking had me lose the fucking title to Goldberg? Like really, guys? We're really gonna go there? You go back to the feud that he had there with Randy Orton, right? You really just take a step back here. And even before Nick Khan came into the picture, think about this for a second. Before Nick Khan even entered the picture here with WWE, you can't also help but think about the fact that, wow, look at the names that were part of that Wyatt family that are no longer in the WWE. That Vince McMahon and company fucked up and let them go. Brody Lee, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan showed a lot of promise. I personally felt it's just unfortunate, how things had played out. Braun Strowman. There's a name you keep hearing he could possibly be brought back to the company. Believe it when I see it. But you keep hearing the rumblings, right? But just think about that for a second. Here we are in 2021. And what year was it when the Wyatt family were first running around? Because they pretty much were running around at about the same time as the Shield, give or take. So that kind of feels like maybe 2012, maybe 2013 is when the Wyatt family was running around there. If you guys can bear with me a second here. So like 2012, 2013 was pretty much the formation and early beginnings of the Wyatt family. So this pretty much goes as far back as FCW, basically, right? I mean, that's just crazy that 2012, 2013, and here we are pretty much like over 10 years later, and none of those guys are in the WWE anymore. All of those guys that you looked at in the Wyatt family, you just, if there's anybody that like, okay, who can pretty much maybe go that extra mile, who's probably still going to be here 10 years from now. The fact that just none of these guys, and look, again, rest in peace, Brody Lee, Luke Harper, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's just crazy that all of those guys, here you are almost 10 years later, none of those guys. I mean, that's just crazy. We got to put, if I'm WWE or if I'm giving advice to WWE, hey, look, some names, there needs to be some names that need to be on a per Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon officially gave the green light. He's had opportunity opportunity after opportunity to marinate on it, and he's giving his blessing. Triple H is on board with this as well, because I just feel as though there is some type of miscommunication. I do. I feel that there is some type of miscommunication going on to a degree between Vince McMahon, Triple H, Nick Khan, and whoever else, talent relations, in regards to the names that are coming up for a contract renewal. And that pretty much, right, that's how I feel this is. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming days, I would not be surprised if you all were to see something from reporters basically saying, upper WWE management is receiving serious backlash over the release of Bray Wyatt. It's being said that the higher ups are, very frustrated, with how this release had came about, and they're trying to take steps to ensure that something like this does not happen again. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that And remember, usually when I give you guys some type of an early projection on something, it's usually pretty spot on, and turns out it comes to fruition a couple of days later after our show. So I would definitely say to you guys, look out for something like that that could be in the works going forward here. I mean, look, we saw what happened with Samoa Joe after all. Samoa Joe got released. And look at how Triple H just essentially pretty much came right in, no, and pretty much brought him in through the NXT backdoor. Could that same thing essentially happen for Bray Wyatt? We'll have to wait and see, but, you know, very unfortunate. I got to say, it's a punch to the gut. It's a serious punch to the gut. And it definitely leaves me just kind of scratching my head. I know a lot of people are looking at this move and they're saying, oh, somewhere down the road, WWE is gearing up to sell the company. I just don't see that. I just don't. I'm not seeing anything as far as WWE selling the company, not with this deal that they just struck with Peacock and all that. You still got the deals that's in play there with Saudi Arabia. Maybe the earliest I could entertain WWE possibly being up for sale, is pretty much maybe, let's see what happens around 2024, 25, 26. Let's see what's going on around that time period. But like right now, in these next couple of years, I'm not seeing anything as far as a WWE sale right now. I know that is what sells the clickbaits and all that. I'm not trying to go in on that on you guys. No. But yeah. I don't think it's a sell. I think when it's all said and done, it just 2 cents from a distance for me, it just feels like there is just some type of a lack of communication. That's what it honestly feels like. It feels like there is a lack of communication. It feels like whatever this hand is doing, the other hand doesn't know about it, and that kind of miscommunication, right? So let's see what happens in the coming days. But I definitely would love to know what you guys have to say about the Bray Wyatt release. So definitely sound off, whether you're checking out the show on demand or be listening on the downloads. Definitely let me know your thoughts. You can post-production, when it's on demand, on the download, you guys could definitely leave a comment, and I usually do a pretty good job responding to all the comments that I see and everything. But I'm most curious what you guys have to say. But that's my 2 cents about that from a distance. And then look, not for nothing, but you see the news that's going on there with Adam Cole. You got the reports floating around there about Adam Cole, and his contract is basically going to be up for renewal in just a couple of weeks. And that WWE, reports going around is that they thought they had him locked in until 2022. So they're feverishly running around with their heads cut off. What can we do to, they're trying to hurry up and, right? Because, who? Adam Cole? Potentially to, you fill in the blank. Right? That would just be, right? So, yeah, it just feels like a big old miscommunication thing. I look at it no different than, and I talked about this on Wrestling with the Topics over the weekend, the Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. I look at it no different than that. And just as far as, okay, what's this hand doing? Okay, yeah, this other hand doesn't know anything about, right, being on the same page, and then making sure that as far as your paperwork goes, any and everything that's going on, right? Everything from the minute that, hey, we got 8 months to go, and then this person's contract is up for renewal here. Okay, well, let's get the ball rolling. Let's go ahead and let's start the renegotiating right now, and let's see if we can re-up it. That way, we ain't got to be thinking about it 90 days from the time that it's getting ready to expire, right? So I hope they're able to continue to have Adam Cole stay, with WWE. But At the same time, I can't help but wonder what more can we see of him do in NXT, right? I mean, if you're asking me straight up, would I like to see Adam Cole continue to stay in the WWE? I would like it. I really, really would. But with the return of the big men between SmackDown and Raw and all that, I just don't feel as though Adam Cole would have the type of success that he's been having thus far in NXT. I don't think that would translate practically at all over on those other shows. So for me at this point, it feels like NXT or go elsewhere. And at this point, this may kind of upset a few of y'all, but I just feel as though Adam Cole maybe should test the waters elsewhere. Now, if that means he needs to test the waters out with AEW or Impact or MLW, right? Who knows? But me personally, I would love to see him stay with WWE, but that's my biggest fear. That is my biggest fear. If it was still a case where we had the CM Punks, the Daniel Bryans, if Ricochet was just elevated, a bit more, John Morrison as well, Miz, if it was completely a different type of atmosphere as far as for the smaller guys, Kofi Kingston as well, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Put Cesaro in there as well, Cesaro. But it's really the return of the big guys right now, almost the larger than life and kind of personality type of guys that's dominating right now across all the shows. So it'd be really hard for me to see a guy like Adam Cole, who's already a pretty small guy as it is too, by the way. He's already a small guy as it is. How is he exactly? You feel where I'm coming from? So that's my 2 cents on that one. And then, of course, you got another report that's floating around. Apparently, there's a major female star on the WWE side of things that apparently her contract is going to be up soon. She's finishing up all her dates, and it's being said that she's not interested in renewing with the company. I don't know if you guys saw that one that was running around. I don't know if somebody was maybe just trying to stir up a big old ball of what, or if there is legit some substance behind that. But your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. Anything else you guys would like for me to get into before we get ready to close it out? Let me know. I'll buy you guys a couple of minutes, give you guys enough time to post in the chat, and you can definitely, sound off on some of the things that I had to say so far here. But programming notes, Tuesday night, since it's now August 3rd here on the East Coast, Tuesday night, you guys will get a new NWA Power Reaction Edition post-show. I won't be streaming that live for you guys at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. I actually will still be out and about running some errands, but you guys should definitely have it. If not before 10 p.m. Eastern, definitely by 10 p.m. And it's going to be a live show that we are going to do. We're not going to pre-record and just upload. It will be live. I'm just not sure if it's going to be before 10 or by 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll have it, but you will get that. And then Wednesday, August 4th, we'll be live after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We'll also talk about the NXT fallout that came about for that respected week as well. By the way, shout out to AEW. You know what? We didn't even get into the AEW Dark Elevation card too. These were your matches for Dark Elevation this week. Darby Allin took on Bear Bronson. Ashley D'Ambrose took on Chris Statlander. Danny Jordan faced Yuka Sakazuki. Lee Johnson faced Marcus Cross. Red Velvet took on Angelica Risk. Rosario Grillo and Hunter Knott faced Aaron Solo and Nick Comorado. So you notice right there, and I know some of you guys are probably going, wait a minute, that's it? Like, there should be, at least 17, 20 fucking matches there. Well, remember what Tony Khan had said a couple of months back. He said that once AEW was going to be going back out there on the road, he said that you can expect to see less of a card for your dark YouTube shows. He said there would be a dramatic cut, and you're now starting to see that when it's all said and done. Peacock, they added some new WWE content. Check this out. They added WCW Clash of the Champions, WWE The Music Power 10, Break It Down, the Swerve City podcast, the Not Sam Wrestling Show, Undertaker celebrating 25 phenomenal years special, Hall of Fame Red Carpet broadcast, Crazy Stupid Love Show, WWE Ride Along, Chasing Glory with Lillian Garcia, ECW Hardcore TV 2000, formerly known as. They added more episodes of WWF All-Star Wrestling, more episodes of Drew Q&A, and the 2017 Mae Young Classic they added. So check that out. I know Mike Bennett had said some stuff with regards to the recent WWE releases. We'll definitely get into that on Wednesday with you guys. And also I see the quarter segments that had went down for AEW's Dynamite, their Fight for the Fallen edition. We'll get into that also on Wednesday's show as well. Okay. Let's see here. I want to give a couple of shout outs here. Bear with me here. Let me just load up one more time. Let me bring this back up. Let's see here. Shout out to Hunter once again. Shout out to Steven Harris. Shout out to you. And who else? Shout out to everybody else that was checking out the show live. Shout out to those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the download. Shout out to Anthony, too. I got to give a shout out to, I think it's Anthony Hunt. Got to give a shout out to him as well. Cool cat. I usually like reading his comments. He usually responds after the show has, I think he watches live, but by the time he starts watching it live, I've already gone off the air. So it's kind of cool seeing him comment to a couple of things that came about during the show. Again, if you watch the shows on demand and you end up leaving a comment, I always read the comments. I may not usually respond directly to the comment, but you'll know that I did check out your comment, as I'll always heart it and I'll give it a thumbs up. So, take that for what it's worth. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take a fork in it. We almost got us a 2-hour show. We're at about an hour, 58 minutes, give or take. Thinking about those ads, though, that's probably going to make it be about a 2-hour show, which is okay. As you guys get ready to make your exit, if you haven't done so already, please go on ahead and hit that like button. You do that, really helps push out our content out there a lot more for more eyeballs to check out. So do that. Feel free to subscribe too, if you guys like. I'll be back with you guys sorry about that. Gonna take me a while to get used to these controls. I'll be back with you guys for NWA, our Power Reaction edition. And then I'll also be back with you guys Wednesday for the talk of Dynamite, NXT, a little bit more. So check those shows out. That's going to be solid. And meantime, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.